Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Although things did go a little quiet on the crypto front, as my recent guest list highlights, things are definitely picking up. And crypto fans will know all about the ZenCash project, which evolved since its inception and last year rebranded to Horizen. And for people outside of the space that are listening to this show, Horizen is the privacy-orientated blockchain technology platform that has also released their flagship application, Sphere by Horizen. And that product offers unprecedented features such as easy encrypted transactions, secure messaging between users, and the ability to toggle between light and full clients. Now, someone that's been following them for some time from the sidelines, it sounds like an incredibly exciting period of change that's going on there at the moment. So I invited Horizen Co-founder Rob Viglione onto my Daily Tech podcast to learn more about their story and the vision for Horizen moving forward. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Miami so we can speak with Rob, who will reveal his plans on how he's going to Uberize finance, create a freer, fairer and nicer world by bringing fintech to the defranchised and pioneer decentralized blockchain-based systems of governance. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Rob. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Thank you for having me, Neil. Yes, absolutely. So I'm co-founder of what was once called ZenCash and is now called Horizen. So my background, I'm actually come at this from the physics, mathematics side of things, and then academic work in financial economics. So what I do for the team right now is I basically manage the team that maintains and builds out our blockchain and our ecosystem. And that's kind of in a nutshell who I am and what I hope I do, at least.
Well, I'm glad you highlighted that because for many people listening, they will know Horizen as its former name, ZenCash, and its blockchain platform with the best privacy technology that provides people with complete control over their digital footprint. So we will have some people from the crypto and blockchain community listening, but equally, there will be a few listening that are completely new to this space. So just to set the scene and ensure everyone's on the same page, can you tell me a little bit more about what Horizen is and the kind of problems that you set out to solve?
Absolutely. So the big macro problem that we're solving for is the simultaneous massive propagation or creation of data in the modern world, and then also the lack of privacy that comes along with it, just based on legacy systems. So I think what a lot of people are starting to realize is that their data is not private whatsoever, and they're starting to see some problems with that. And even governments are starting to see this. So things like GDPR, I think, are kind of harbingers of more to come, where now governments are realizing that because people are not having basic privacy with the mass amounts of data that they're creating, this leads to problems, and governments are now stepping in to try to protect consumers. So there's a big trend, and our big goal is to ultimately give people complete control of their digital footprint. Now, within the blockchain world, what problems are we solving? Well, we're solving hard on the security, the scalability, and the governance sides of this industry, which we think are the big problems that stemmed from the early days of Bitcoin that really haven't been solved as an industry. So we're tackling them pretty hard in a number of different technology and and also like hard technology and social technology ways.
Now, we are living in an era of exponential change and everything's constantly evolving. But I've got to ask, what was the story behind rebranding of ZenCash to Horizen?
So, the rebrand is really simple. It's, the name cash implies currency, and cryptocurrency was our first and, arguably most important application, but it was just our first. And what we've been doing since is building out a very scalable platform system. So what we're trying to do now is build out kind of like a blockchain of blockchains model with side chains and doing a whole bunch of stuff with on-chain scalability and opening up the environment for other application developers to start building on top of. So this goes really well beyond the single application of being a currency. So we knew we had to change the name at some point, and we just had a point in our in a project life cycle where it made a lot of sense. So we pulled the trigger on it and been very happy with the results.
And Sphere by Horizen was recently released, which is a highly secure cryptocurrency wallet with some incredibly unique features that give users even greater control over their sensitive data and transactional information. But can you tell me a little bit more about Sphere and where it fits in with Horizen's mission to promote that usability, financial privacy, and secure communications all over the world?
Oh, absolutely. So Sphere by Horizen, we released as a beta product. And as a beta product, if you look at it, we call it an application more so than just a wallet. So it includes a wallet functionality for sure, and includes a nice, slick user interface for any type of wallet type of transaction. But we also integrated a messaging application in there. So it's a very secure messaging application that uses zero-knowledge cryptography, which extended our messaging protocol that we built in the early days of this project. We wrapped it into a much nicer user interface and combine the two of them. But the plan for Sphere by Horizen is actually to make this our portal into our ecosystem. So many fun, interesting features on the planning horizon, no pun intended. Things like we may want to embed like a VPN service in there. We may want to ultimately open this up to, well, for sure what we're doing is now making it in the next iteration a very useful tool for node operators to be able to manage their nodes, do things like batch withdrawal, batch split, different things that are very useful to a particular important stakeholder group within our ecosystem. But our plans are much, much bigger to extend this out into a very broad application. It really is that portal into our ecosystem.
Now, I expect we might have a few people listening from the Horizen community as well. So can you tell me a little bit more about the generalizable sidechain solution progress? And also, why do you think that is such a game changer?
Totally. So the reason I think this is a game changer is because this is the first, in my opinion, real bridge to like a combination of a combined private-public ecosystem. So something that mimics or is analogous to the public internet, where you can have companies that are building their own kind of networks, to kind of link their own departments and link their own operations. But then they ultimately realize, let's plug our internet into the internet. And I think that the early, evolution of the blockchain industry has been very analogous, where you have enterprise providers that are building these kind of siloed blockchain systems for businesses, and they're essentially creating these intranets for these companies all over the world. And what we're doing now with our public-private infrastructure via our decentralized sidechain system is all these companies now can plug into a public infrastructure, really for the first time in a decentralized way. So what I mean by that is it's the first sidechain system that doesn't require trusted or centralized nodes to be able to adjudicate sidechain transactions and link them back to a main chain. We're actually building a competitive certifying node marketplace where anyone in the world can join, and it'll be open to all of our Horizen node operators. If they want to run a sidechain because a sidechain developer or a business decides to offer them incentives to do that, so basically fees that go into the node operators, they can run sidechains. And they can do this in a trustless way, which I think is going to be absolutely huge, because now it opens up the system to being truly permissionless, trustless, where anyone can build out in sort of hub and spoke model, where we have a blockchain system where it comprises of blockchains. And they all link together in a decentralized way, just following very simple rules that we released with our sidechain software developer kit.
I think it's also worth highlighting that Horizen is working towards the day where anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizen platform and generate income for them. But what kind of time frame are you looking for when developers will be able to build these decentralized apps on the Horizen platform?
So very near term, and what I can say is we're also working on the first decentralized application that is a VPN service that we're using as basically a design partnership to build out a broader, more decentralized system that can do tracking payments for these types of dApps. So there's two ways to look at it. One is we're building out this, the sidechain model that includes a software developer kit. And once the SDK hits the market, any developer team could use that SDK to, in a permissionless way, build sidechain applications. One of the first major or important sidechain applications that we're building as a team is a system that can create basically a competitive marketplace for dApp developers. So you could release, theoretically, say take our distributed VPN system, you can release a VPN system into our marketplace, and you can now charge for services. It has an automated way to track, say, bandwidth usage, to automate payments from subscribers to all of the different stakeholders within the ecosystem that happen to run the infrastructure to host the application. So we're almost there, and we're working on the first project as a design partnership. We're working on the sidechain SDK, and we're gearing up to release that within the next couple months. So this big competitive marketplace that we envisioned is at least gearing up for the alpha release. So we're very excited about that.
I have been following blockchain and the crypto space for some time, and it's always fascinated me how there's very, very often two sides of the fence when it comes to the crypto community, because early adopters of cryptos are probably nervously listening to our conversation today because their primary concern in the community is about updates, partnerships and prices and things like that. I'm curious, from the inside, do you feel any pressure at Horizen to succeed at the moment, or are you just far too busy focusing on building those future solutions to even think about that other stuff?
So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Like most things in reality are mixed. It's same for us. And to the extent to which we care about the marketplace and we care about market feedback that we get is with our price, because our treasury fund, which every block that's mined, there's some Zen that goes into a treasury fund that we used to pay our team to fund projects and so forth. That's in Zen. So when the Zen price goes down, our ability to execute on a roadmap via our budget also diminishes. So that's the extent to which we care about it. But we have a stable kind of budget equilibrium right now. So it's not that we go out and we're trying to actively boost the price of Zen. That's not our business. Our business is to build out our blockchain ecosystem to create real value technologically, socially, economically. And that, we believe, in the long term is going to have an impact on the price. But we certainly don't do things to kind of stabilize or boost the short-term price of Zen. It's just not in our purview. It's not something that we care about. But in the long term, for sure, the price of Zen matters.
Now, the world of crypto has seen demand for the whole industry to grow much slower than people probably initially thought at the end of 2017. And rather than building projects on future promises, there seems to be a much stronger focus on real-world solutions right now. Do you think we'll begin to see the first fruits this year from those ICOs? What do you think the secret is to securing mainstream adoption or just encouraging more people into this space?
So I think the key and what will be a measure of success is when you have massive adoption of some product, whether it's a distributed app or some other blockchain system or a service that happens to run on blockchain, and you have, by virtue of that product itself, mass adoption. And then the users don't have to know or care that it runs on a blockchain. That's where we're going, and that's going to be kind of the turning point where we know that we're starting to become successful as an industry. What's not going to be a measure of success is convincing people to adopt blockchain for the sake of blockchain or for any of the other kind of values that we've placed in the early days of the industry, things like decentralization, privacy, and these other things that we value for sure as an industry. We're not going to sell the mass market based on our own values. What we're going to sell them on are just awesome applications that add a lot of value into their lives.
Now, I'm sure you're sick to death of this pun, but I'm going to have to say it anyway. What's next on the horizon for Horizen?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, in a way, this factored into the choice of name was, to show that we're always forward, thinking about the future and moving forward. So on our horizon, right, we have some very interesting things. For me, the most interesting and important thing is releasing that sidechain SDK. Because this is where we really, truly, for the first time, open up as a developer platform. And this is absolutely critical. So we've been to market for the last 2 years as a cryptocurrency. And despite talking about being a platform, we're really a cryptocurrency that's aiming to do a lot of different things. Once we release that sidechain SDK, we are truly a developer platform that now anyone can build on top of. And that's extremely exciting. We have a lot of product roadmap items or product deliveries in the pipeline. So the Sphere by Horizen app, actually we released as a beta, and we have a very aggressive release schedule lined up. Basically, every month we're going to be releasing an important update for the application. So we're very excited about that. We have another mobile wallet in testing right now that runs on iOS. That's going to be a very important, very slick, simple, easy to use mobile wallet that includes both Bitcoin and Zen. So our product positioning is to make this a very competitive, attractive product in just the Bitcoin user space, and then onboard Bitcoin users into our ecosystem. And then on the the main chain side, we have some very interesting projects for just our main chain, growth and scalability. So one project that for me, and this is a little bit further out until we have a big quarterly program review meeting in 2 weeks where we're going to be solidifying our roadmap. But one thing that I'm advocating that's on our roadmap, but it's sort of a stretch item on our roadmap, is what's called a block DAG. So it's a directed acyclic graph. It's a big, fundamental generalization of blockchain technology. So instead of doing blocks in sequence, you do blocks in parallel. And it could blow the technology frontier out of the water in the sense that the big DAG projects on the market, which are very popular, very valuable, are things like IOTA, that are transaction DAGs. So they arrange transactions into these graph architectures, and they supposedly can scale massively. Ours is more tractable and comes from academia. It's still packaging transactions into blocks, but instead of having this tree, architecture that's expanding with, if it's successful, say thousands of transaction tips per second, we're going to have a few dozen blocks per second, which still has the same transaction throughput, but in a much more tractable few dozen tips in a tree architecture instead of thousands of tips in a tree, which can, I think, scale provably much better. So this is a project that I'm extremely excited about. It's still one of our stretch goals for the year to at least start by the end of the year, but we already have a prototype, and we have some very innovative ways from our R&D director Alberto Garofalo on actually bringing this to market sooner. So no promises, but it's one of the, I think, in addition or in combination with sidechains, could make Horizen the most scalable and stable architecture in the marketplace.
Fantastic. Sounds like an incredibly exciting year for you guys. So if we've got anybody listening that want to find out more information or maybe just keep up to date with what's going on throughout the year, can you just remind them where they can find you guys online, maybe even talk to your community, and also contact a member of your team if they've got any questions?
Absolutely. So the big info repository for us is our website, so horizen.global. And guys, remember, it's Horizen, so Z-E-N at the end, .global. And then if you're a developer or a technical person, come check out our GitHub repository. And from there, we have all of our social platforms. So Discord is our biggest community engagement channel where we have our team always available and online. We have a 24-hour, 24/7 customer support desk. So if you have any problems, come to Discord or submit a ticket on support.horizen.global. We have a very active Telegram community. And then from there, we have Reddit and all of the other usual suspects like Bitcoin Talk, and so forth, Twitter. So check us out. Come participate.
Excellent. Well, I'll add those links to the show notes just so people can find you nice and easily. And I think privacy is such a big topic at the moment, and for very good reason. So for that alone, I love what you're doing by providing people with that complete control over their digital footprint as that awareness grows around privacy. But more than anything, just a big thank you for taking the time out to come and join me today. Thanks, Rob.
Oh, thank you very much, Neil. It's been a pleasure.
What I love about this project is at the heart of everything that they're doing, they believe that everyone deserves the right and the ability to protect their digital identity. The launch of Sphere by Horizen is ultimately aimed at giving greater control to the global community of their digital identities, and that can only be a great thing. And I also think it's incredibly insightful to have a look behind the curtain and see what goes on behind the scenes. On our side of the fence, communities are hungry for updates and fighting each other on Reddit threads about which coin or solution is better. But the people building the solutions of tomorrow are actually united. And it really highlights to me how we can all accomplish so much more by working together than being apart. But hey, maybe I was brought up on too much Knight Rider and Devon saying one man can make a difference. But if we really want to solve the adoption problem and entice more people into this space, we need to just work together. Why can't we all get along? Man, I'm probably going to get flamed on a thread somewhere for even suggesting that. So I will bravely offer the virtual microphone over to you. And I want you to email me your thoughts at techblogwriter@outlook.com or tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. So I would genuinely love to hear your thoughts about today's conversation and indeed your insights about the entire industry. That's how this show works. And maybe, just maybe, we can teach each other a few things on this crazy journey called life, because I know I don't have the answers, and you probably don't have all the answers, but together, we might just have them. So before I get too cheesy, all that's left for me to say is a big thank you for listening, And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.